Dancehall artist Vybz Kartel is in big trouble. Why is that? DPP Paula basically submit a letter to the Jamaica Court of Appeal asking for a retrial. Paula don't want Vybz Kartel to walk scratch-free. Viewer subscriber, I have an exclusive interview with Paula over a nationwide. So I go play the interview and make the viewers them see what go on. But before we get into that, if you're new to the channel, click the subscribe button, turn on the bell icon. Me did know say yo, them a go give Vybz Kartel the ultimate fight. Them don't want to look like a idiot, so them nah go make Vybz Kartel walk so easy.
Fully up, no bully up. You know, fully body bad get attack. I may represent for SAP BG.
Was responding since the judgment came down last Thursday morning, and she was asked by Tona and Ricardo about the advice she gave to the judge in the trial after it was revealed that there was an attempt to bribe the jurors.
DPP, having been told that all of your jurors in 2014 had been offered a $500,000 bribe, why did you not advise the judge that it was probably best to dismiss the jury, which was now obviously tainted?
You see, you are now trying to get me to discuss the matter, and I told you that I didn't wish to.
No, but certainly this point, DPP, is important, because here the law lords are saying you advised the judge that you were prepared to proceed even though you knew that the entire panel, 11 jurors the forewoman told you, had been offered bribes. Wouldn't that mean in your judgment, DPP, that the entire jury, as the law lords have now found, was contaminated and should have been terminated or discharged?
Well, first of all, I am not the judge.
True, but you gave advice that you were prepared to proceed, and what I'm trying to understand.
You were prepared to proceed.
But why were you prepared to proceed with a jury that was contaminated?
No. All the other factors, that some of which I cannot go into in terms of.
So you were thinking about cost. You were thinking about how long the matter had been going.
Also thinking of security issues. There were a lot of other issues that we cannot go into the public domain. And what our information from the foreman was, what she was saying, was that all of the attempts had to do with acquittal. Clearly, if it had been the other way, we would have, clearly, given the overriding objective of any case, which is fairness to the accused. But what would have been perhaps planted in the mind of the jurors is, okay, you need to acquit. And remember that these persons, at least two of them, are very famous. So it would have been, as far as the prosecution, when we discussed it, we would have been at those ones at a great disadvantage. This is not the first time.
But with the greatest respect, DPP, that's not persuasive, because what I want you to focus on is the fact that the process now had been corrupted and contaminated, and you advised the judge that you were comfortable proceeding with a contaminated and corrupt process.
This is not the first time that I have had to deal with jury tampering.
And be that as it may, in the exercise of your judgment, why did you not see it fit to bring to an end a matter that had been corrupted?
After 64 days of trial?
Isn't the interest of protecting the impartial trial greater than the length of time that had elapsed?
I agree with you on paper, but I have done other cases where there has been jury tampering to the great negative of the prosecution. I have seen cases, I've seen jury inquiries where the juror, having been questioned, it was quite clear that it was either an accused person or an accused person's relative that approached the juror. And the juror was able to indicate to the court that it did not make any difference. He would still be able to have an impartial situation in his mind. I have had the experience. I've prosecuted many cases. And when asked, I have indicated that we don't have any problem. So in other words, we are prepared to take our chances and just try to make sure that you have a very powerful address. But this, what happened in a couple of the cases I've dealt with, didn't happen during summation. It happened before we got to summation. So I have had the experience before of jury tampering. And I have been asked before, what is my view, being the prosecutor in the matter? And even after the inquiry, it's a judgment. It's quite clear that you don't know if the juror is telling you everything about the encounter with the relative of the accused, but you are willing to take the chance nonetheless. So it has happened. I mean, both myself and Mr. Taylor, who was the prosecutor, we didn't drop from the sky. It's not the first case that we are both having to deal with. And in our experience, we have had to deal with cases where you have issues arising.
With the benefit of hindsight, do you regret the submissions you made?
You are not going to get me there. You are not going to get me.
Well, quite an interesting 5 minutes of exchanges there. And the takeaway for me is the DPP seems to be relying on the fact that in her long prosecutorial career, she has made a judgment call, several judgment calls, in a number of instances of jury tampering. And I wonder, does that make it legally correct? It might be a call that has been wrong. Because surely, based on what we now have from the Privy Council, jury misconduct undermines the fundamental principle of the justice system of the accused being entitled to a fair trial. And the fact that you have been doing it several occasions before does not make it right. Those who have been in such matters, do they have cause, reason to wonder at minimum? It is, Madam DPP, quite a space we are in.